So ayun po, I started the recording. Pag-uusapan natin ngayon sa Unit 3 natin is post-employment benefits. Ano ang post-employment benefits? What is it? Know that post-employment benefits is part of our accounting standard, PAS 19. Under PAS 19, what's the title of that? Employee benefits. These benefits will need to be paid after the employee has completed his or her employment. Q, there's a prefix to the employment benefits. It's post-employment, meaning pag retired na ang tao, dun niya matatanggap ang mga benefits na to. What are these benefits? Pension fund, retirement benefits, post-employment life insurance, post-employment medical care, anything and everything na natanggap niya in exchange for the service na binigay niya in his productive years. Matanda na, di na kaya magtrabaho, pero meron pa rin kinikita because meron siyang post-employment benefits. Sa mga lolo nyo na, sa mga lola-lolo nyo na nag-retire na, siguro maririnig nyo palagi, meron akong pension sa SSS, meron akong kukubrahin sa GSIS, may lump sum tayo sa Pag-ibig, wala kayo noon, tapos PhilHealth, etc. Ang daming benefits, pero government benefits yon, mandatory benefits, hindi yon ang pag-uusapan natin sa PAS 19. Maliban doon, okay? Maliban sa mga required ng government, an entity can set up a separate employment benefit plan. At yun yung concern ng PAS 19. How do we account for these? Well, accounting-wise, the same principle in accounting will be applied to those employment benefits ng GSIS, SSS. Pero we will not focus on those. Instead, we will focus on privatized employment benefits. Before I get too far, let me move on. Wrap up lang sa nasabi ko na kanina. Yung post-employment benefits po, these are compensation payments for services already rendered. Because, retired na yung tao, tapos na siya magtrabaho, di ba? So, makes sense, right? Padayon? The more important question. You now know what post-employment benefits are, but how do we account for it in our financial statements? These benefits comprise of payments made to employees for their service rendered, paulit-ulit na lang to, but it is paid so after the service has been rendered. So, sir, di ba sir yung salary, it is also a compensation for service rendered? Magtrabaho ka for 1 month, ibibigay sa iyo yung sweldo mo after 1 month. May bonus ka every year. May bonus ka nung pag June kung meron kayong mid-year bonus or yung 13th month pay hinati sa dalawa. Could it be that post-employment benefits is just an excuse? Maybe post-employment benefits is an excuse for salaries paid late. Kasi walang pambayad yung employer ngayon, ibinayad na lang sa future. Ipinangako na lang na ibabayad sa future is what I'm trying to say. Pero sabi ni Rose sa chat, ang accounting po ng employee benefits, it is a liability and expense. That is correct. We will get to that, Rose, pero sige po. Hindi ko na patatagalin pa. Nauna na nasabi na ni Rose na kapag nag-a-account ka ng employee benefits, your main concern is the measurement and recognition of a liability and also the same for expense. You will incur a liability and an expense. Pero it is not to say that those are the only two things na nag-arise from an employee benefit. Because from employee benefits, you may also end up with an asset. Pero mainly, ito po ang pinag-uusapan. When the entity consumes the economic benefits of the employees, magre-recognize ka po ng liability and expense. But the question will arise, when do we consume the economic benefit of the employee's service? Kadali ha? Okay. Okay man ang view, I adjusted something. When do you think do we consume the economic benefits of the employee service? Can somebody answer me? Or can somebody reiterate in a better worded way na mas maiintindihan itong statement na to? At ayun nga, nasabi na ni Rose. Okay. At the time they are already working, sir. Sige po. At dahil bibong-bibo ka, Rose, may points ka. Thank you. Miss Bolastig. Sorry, not accepted. It is appreciated. If we apply that principle of past 19, balik ng konti. Past 19 principle, it will lead to the recognition of liability and expense. Pero post-employment benefits kasi, it is not immediately received. So, magkakaroon ng difference yung pag-recognize mo ng liability versus yung pagbayad mo. Kasi magre-recognize ka ng liability while they are working, pagkatapos magbabayad ka after their employment, pag-retired na sila. Applied post-employment benefits. Economic benefit from the employee service are consumed during the years of employment. Meanwhile, post-employment benefits are received by the employees after retirement. But since the economic benefits from the employee service are consumed during the years of employment, it also follows po na ang recognition ng liability natin and the expense for employee benefits, post-employment benefits included, they should also occur in the same period of employment. So kung ikaw, meron kang employee benefit plan for your retirees, ang pag-recognize mo ng expense is before they retire. It could be even at the same day or at the same year kung kailan mo sila hinire. For example, kakaumpisa pa lang niya magtrabaho, pagpaplanuhan mo na po ang future ng empleyadong ito. Kasi ang mga empleyado, inaalagaan. Okay? Iniisip kung ano ang future ng employee. Kaya kayo girls, dun kayo sa iniisip ang future nyo, ha? Hindi yung kontento na sa pansamantalang kaligayahan lang. Okay? Set up a post-employment benefit for your jowa. Balit. Padayon. This is notwithstanding the time when the benefits are paid for and eventually received by the retirees, which happens after the employment. We're going in circles here. So let us wrap this one up. Employers normally obliged to make periodic contributions for these benefits of the employees in the years of service. So ganito na lang isipin mo. Empleyado, bata pa, pero every year, yung employer niya nagbabayad na para sa retirement benefit ng empleyado na yan. Every year. Okay? Depends on the arrangement. It could be every month. It could be yearly. Depende na lang sa agreement ni employee and employer. Anyway, meron naman sila dyan contract for this post-employment benefits. In short, employee benefits expense and the liability is recognized in every year the employee is actively serving the company. Okay? I think I did well to condense that thought there. Kailan nagre-recognize ng expense? During the years of employment. The next question, how are post-employment benefits arranged? Kailangan ko to i-explain ng maayos sa inyo. Para po magkaroon ng post-employment benefit ang isang empleyado, kailangan meron pong kontrata, merong agreement, the terms of which are contained in what we call benefit plans. Or if we are referring to post-employment, it's post-employment benefit plans. Thank you, sir. Captain Obvious. Anyway, post-employment benefit plans is a terminology that you will encounter a few times when you are studying PAS 19. And what are these? Here's how PAS 19 defines it. Post-employment benefit plans are arrangements where an entity provides post-employment benefits to employees. Okay, PAS 19. Let me teach you a little bit something of how to make definitions. When you define a term, do not include the term in the definition because it is rather confusing. So ayun na, PAS 19, mag-sorry ka. But anyway, Post-employment benefits, what are the examples? Pensions. Siguro naman pag sinabi sa yung pensions, alam mo na kagad, no? Okay. It is a plan for pensions. Or if you are really a fancy person, let's go to Investopedia. Let's look for an alternative definition. A post-employment benefit plan is a retirement plan that requires an employer to make contributions. That's clear, ano? The employer must make a contribution. Dapat siya yung gagasto. Ano daw? Contribution to a pool of funds set aside for a worker's future benefit. So yun, sa employer mag-i-invest into a fund, tapos yung pondong yun, the pool of funds is invested on the employee's behalf, and the earnings on the investment generate income to the worker upon retirement. Okay, sir. So yung post-employment benefits pala, sir, parang investment to. Pagkatapos yung yung recipient ng investment na to is the employee. Opo. Yun po yun. And the way post-employment benefits work is like this. The employer sheds out some money and gives that money, invests it to a trustee. Ibibigay niya kay trustee. Take note, the trustee is not the employee. It could be a financial institution. It could be a bank. Those who do actuarial work, actuary. Ito sila yung mga nagbibigay ng post-employment benefit services. Okay? Basta isipin mo na lang financial institution to. Okay? Ang gagawin po ni financial institution is hindi po ite-treasure. I-invest niya yung money into stocks, into bonds, in such a way na magkakaroon ng income yung investment ni employer. Pagkatapos, pag magka-income na yung investment ni employer, yung income na yun, yan po ang ipambabayad kay retiree. Pero the employer has a responsibility to make sure that the funds are sufficient to pay the retirees. Kaya nga po, if you are aware of current events, GSIS and SSS, both nagkakaroon ng mga naririnig nyo sa news minsan na mababa na daw yung pondo ng GSIS, ng SSS. Delikado daw po to para sa mga new employees, sa mga younger employees. Well, that is something to worry about kung nagtatrabaho ka. Because as employees, we are contributing to those institutions. At kung mabankrupt po ang trustee na to, in the case of my example, SSS and GSIS, mapapawalang halaga yung mga investment na para sa pension sana kung mag-retire kami. Okay? The employer has a responsibility na kung magkulang, kailangan niya mag-shed out ng funds para po mabayaran si retiree. Okay? Water break. Sarap ng tubig. Okay, continuation. Post-employment benefit plans, that's how they work. Now let us look into PAS 19. Pag pinag-uusapan natin privatized na employee benefit plans, mag-set up ng pondo, yung pondo gagamitin for the employees' benefits later. There are two main arrangements. There are two main arrangements that can be made between employer and employee as to how much the employee will receive. There is defined contribution plan and defined benefit plan. Defined contribution, defined benefit. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Well, defined contribution plan, it is simply the employer agreeing to pay a fixed contribution to a trustee. Do you remember the scheme earlier? The employer will agree to pay a certain amount to the trustee or agree to invest a certain amount to the trustee. The correct term here should be invest. Okay? Sorry. It should not be pay. It is invest a fixed contribution to a trustee. Like for example, si employer, every year babayad siya ng 10,000 to the trustee. Mag-i-invest siya ng 10,000 to the trustee. Irregardless of how much the fund will be, basta yun na yung promise niya. Mag-i-invest ako ng 10,000 for your future. Don't worry. Every year yan. That's defined contribution. Defined benefit naman is, in a way, the employer does not make a promise to pay the trustee, but rather a promise to pay the retirees themselves. Diretso. Pag mag-retire ka tapos nandito ka pa rin sa akin, I will pay you 20,000 every month in your retired life. Ano pinagkaiba nun? Well, defined contribution. Nag-promise ka na mag-i-invest ako for your future 10,000. Pero take note, I am investing 10,000 to the trustee. Hindi nun ibig sabihin na 10,000 din ang matatanggap mo, ha? Kasi ang prinamis ko lang mag-i-invest ako ng 10,000 every year. Defined ang contribution ni employer. Dito naman sa defined benefit, ang prinamis ni employer is makakatanggap ka ng ganitong amount when you retire. Those are two different arrangements. And guess, right now, which one do you think is more difficult to account for or to manage as an employer? Take note, ha, when you are the accountant, you are accounting for the side of the employer here. Asan yung mas mahirap dito? Just take a guess. Okay, many people answering. And it is true. Most of you answered correctly. The more difficult one to account for here is defined benefit plan. You will see soon kung bakit mas mahirap si defined benefit plan. Itong nasa red ba, defined benefit plan, mas mahirap to siya. This one is rather simple to account for because whatever you agreed to pay, yun na yung liability mo, yun na yung expense mo. Hindi na lalayo sa promise to pay na fixed contribution, yung expense sa liability mo. Yun na yun. Pero dito, well, let's talk about that later. Padayon. Let me see. Let's test how keen your observation is. Basa ha. I will give two examples. Tell me, is it defined contribution or defined benefit? Just type in chat your answer as I show the examples. Example number 1. What you see there could be a term in the agreement na nakasulat sa kontrata between the employer and the insured employee or the benefiting employee. Normally, ino-offer to sa mga higher positions, pero it is not uncommon for a company to offer this to all of the employees. Mabait yung employee. Nag-set up ng private employee benefit fund for all his employees. Wow, very nice. Sir, may da ka mo private employee benefit ha, school? Sorry, wala. Sad life. Pero meron naman akong SSS kaya I got that going for me. It's a problem that you will soon feel when you try to estimate when you want to retire. Kasi take note guys, when you retire, wala ka ng allowance kasi your parents will no longer give you. Ang tanda-tanda mo na. Iki-kick out ka na sa bahay niyan. Kailangan mo maghanap ng sarili mong bahay. Well, unless we're Filipinos, we would like to live with our parents. Unless that is you. Pero sige na, padayon na kita hini. We'll not talk about other things muna. I need to mute someone.
Sa canvas ninyo, yung learning outcomes natin, yung target natin, dapat ba nakaka-participate tayo ng related sa investments. Okay?
I think I recognize the voice. Let me pause the recording muna. So ito na nga guys. What you see here And what your answers told me is correct. That is a defined benefit plan. Kasi po ang pinangako ni Justin, the employer, is the monthly pension itself. The monthly pension is what the employee or Ella, what Ella will receive after retirement. That is a meager amount. I don't know about you guys and your perception with money, pero 10,000 is not enough to live 1 month. Depends on lifestyle, sir. Kasi may bukid naman kami. May sarili kaming bigasan. Tapos may sarili kaming meat shop. Well, you don't need the pension. Ibigay mo na lang sa akin yan. But anyway, padayon. Another example. Adi. What is the implication if you have a defined benefit plan? The problem, here's the implication. The problem of the employer is now to determine how much to invest into the fund to meet the 10,000 payment to the employee every month after retirement. I don't know if you realize the magnitude of that problem. Pero here's something that the employee does not know. The employee does not know how many times he will pay 10,000. Bakit? Alam mo ba kung kailan machuchugi si Ella? May plano ka ba na ipatumba siya after 5 years na makatanggap siya ng 10,000 per month? Illegal yun. Hindi mo alam how long Ella will be receiving that. Di ba? So it's rather difficult to estimate how much fund you need in order to pay Ella 10,000 for the rest of her life until she eventually crosses the bridge to the next world. Hanggang sa maisikay siya sa ibang mundo, no? Pero yun na po, mahirap i-estimate yung defined benefit plan because of that nature. And guys, here's something that I will tell you right off the bat. Estimating how long Ella will live, estimating how many times we will pay Ella, that is not the accountant's problem because we are simply unskilled to do so. Can you determine the lifespan of a person by just looking at him? Kamakurul ba daw ito nga imo ability? May ma-meet ka, for example, sangkay mo, tapos nakita mo haiagtang a number of years na remaining haiya life. Wow! I don't know if that is a blessing or a curse. Diba? That's rather difficult, which is why we leave this to professionals we call actuaries. They are the ones who are skilled to determine or to estimate, not really determine because nobody can determine, to estimate how much to invest. Okay? We will be depending on what we term actuarial assumptions. Hindi na problema ni accountant to. Itong information na to, ibibigay yan ni trustee sa'yo. Okay? Pero yung pag-provide ng fund, that is the problem of the employee. Siyempre, tayo pa rin yung magpopondo ng employee benefit ni Ella. And this next example, of course, kasi meron na tayong example ng defined benefit, ito yung defined contribution. You agree to invest 5,000 into a fund held by a trustee to finance the retirement benefit of Ella. Well, this one is in favor of the employee because employer, because the employer already knows how much money he will pay. But the ones who is slighted here is Ella, because although the employer is contributing right now, Ella doesn't really know how much she will receive when it comes to her pension. Diba? Kasi nag-defined contribution tayo. Sir, is SSS and GSIS defined benefit or defined contribution? If you are a salaryman like me, defined contribution po. Hindi ko alam kung ano matatanggap ko later kasi it will depend on the market and the profitability of the funds inside SSS, how they manage it, how it is earning income right now, how they prevent corruption. It will depend. How much fund do I have? I don't really know. Ang alam ko lang, ito ang binabayad ng empleyado sa kanang employer sa pondo ko. Pero as to how much dividend that fund will earn, I don't know. Kaya po hindi ko alam magkano ang matatanggap ko. I hope that one sunk in, and I hope hindi mo na makakalimutan anong pinagkaiba ng defined contribution sa defined benefit. Padayon. More about the two. Yang dalawang first information, nasabi ko na kanina. Pero here's more. Kapag nasa defined contribution plan tayo, the employer has no legal or constructive obligation to make additional payments. Kung ano lang yung pinangako niya na investment, fixed contribution, yan lang yung obligation niya. Whether kulang or sobra ang pondo para sa empleyado, wala na siyang pakidon. Okay? Basta ito lang ang pinangako niya. Meanwhile, this one effectively limits. It effectively limits the obligation of the employer. Mas pabor sa employer ang defined contribution plan. Take note of that. On the flip side, when we are talking about defined benefit plan, here are the implications. It places an investment risk on the entity because you have to meet how much the employee received, diba? And then you need to second guess how much investment is needed to put into the fund. Obligation is to deliver agreed benefits, and you don't know how much funds are needed for those benefits. You have to ensure lang that there is sufficient fund for the benefits to be paid constantly. Defined contribution plan. I do not have slides for discussion on defined contribution plan, but we will discuss it tomorrow, problem solving. Diretso na. Sabihin ko sa inyo, madaling-madali lang po ang defined contribution plan, and you will know tomorrow. Skip over tayo. How do we account for defined benefit plan? Paano ang accounting kung defined benefit plan? While you think about that, kadali-kadali, I think somebody is knocking on my front door. Yung aso ko fake news. Tahol ng tahol, wala namang tao sa labas. Hala. Baka may nakikita siyang hindi ko nakikita. Mag-isa lang ako sa bahay today. Oh no. Anyway, let me take my head off of that thought. Padayon anay kita. Accounting for defined benefit plan. Here is how we account for defined benefit plan. Di ba employee benefits, post-employment benefits, the first thing you learned from what I shared earlier is that the employer will invest into a fund. That fund is what we call plan asset or employee benefit fund plan asset. Plan asset for short. Huwag mo na idagdag yung employee benefit fund kasi masyadong mahaba. Plan asset. The pension fund held by a trustee contributed by the employer to cover benefits paid to pensioners. Kapag defined benefit plan ka, di ba responsibility mo to keep the fund sufficient? Remember that. Primary responsibility to. Bakit? Bakit kailangan maging sufficient? Because it needs to meet a certain obligation that you promised your employees. And then you will have a problem if you are unable to meet them because you promised this one and they will ask for it. Diba? Ano tong benefit obligation? Benefit obligation is the estimated amount of future benefits the employer is obligated to pay based on services rendered by employees. Take note, estimated amounts lang to because nobody really knows for certain how much we will be paying with this. We can't estimate how long the employees will live after retirement, di ba? Kaya po estimated lang. Although, we leave most of the estimation part to our actuary, to our trustee. Ito lang talaga ang responsibility natin. Kailangan natin i-maintain ang plan asset para at least equal sila, ideally. Or kung may sobra ng konti, okay din. Pero hindi naman kailangan equal sila at all times kasi pwede naman kasi, take note ha, ang benefit obligation, it consists of all the payments. Estimates of all the payments. At hindi naman lahat ng payments babayaran mo kaagad-agad. Di ba? It will be staggered in payment year by year as time goes by. Until such time na mamaalam na itong empleyado na to, you will be free from that liability. Pero then again, you will hire some more employees, you will set up more benefit plans for these new employees. Kaya this is a vicious, endless cycle. Vicious is the wrong word for that. It is a happy incidental cycle. Charms. What you do is you compare your plan asset against that defined benefit obligation. And in every year, you have to assess, are we over or short? Sobra ba ang plan asset natin compared sa benefit obligation? Kasi kung sobra, meron tayong prepaid benefit cost. I think this is self-explanatory. Sobra ang pondo kaysa sa obligation, meron kang prepayment. Nagsobra ka sa pag-invest. If you report a prepaid benefit cost, you have an asset. On the other hand, kung mas mataas ang defined benefit obligation kaysa sa plan asset, this equation will turn out negative, di ba? And that one is the liability that you have to present in your financial statement. Pero guys, when you are doing computations, your plan asset, you can imagine this one to be a quasi-asset and this one to be a quasi-liability. Sir, bakit hindi actual liability? Bakit hindi actual asset? Bakit quasi lang? Because in your standard PAS 19, we are not required or we are not even suggested to present the plan asset amount in our asset section because that will vaguely overstate our assets. We're not allowed to do that. Hindi po pwede na ibigay, ilagay sa assets natin ang total amount ng plan assets. Dito ka lang makakakita sa standard na to. I think there are a few others, pero remotely will you see this, na ang asset saka ang liability pinagnenet. Because PAS 1 provides that you are not supposed to do that. Netting assets and liabilities is prohibited in the presentation of financial statements. Pero since this is a special topic, a special situation, and it is with special assumptions, PAS 19R, employee benefits, dito ka lang po magne-net ng asset and liability. Yung net amount nila, yun lang ang ipapakita mo sa balance sheet mo as asset or liab. Pero when you are computing for the T accounts, yung increases, saka yung decreases ng plan asset, you treat it as if it is an asset. And when you are accounting for defined benefit obligation, you treat it as if it is a liability. Kasi yung mga credits niya, it is increasing the defined benefit obligation. Yung debits, it is decreasing benefit obligation. Pero remember this itatak mo sa utak mo. You do not present the whole amount in the financial statement for the two. Move on. Sige sir, alam ko na. Plan asset. I hope I resumed the recording because if I did not, I will stab myself with my cell phone. No. Okay, I resumed the recording. Nagkaroon ako ng mini heart attack. But then again, all's well. Okay, plan asset. Ito yung pondo mo. And if you have invested in the previous years, you will normally have a beginning balance. Imagine it to be a debit in a T account when you are computing plan assets. And these are funds that you invest, right? So whenever you make additional contributions to that plan, magbayad ka for the benefits, employee benefits of your, mag-invest ka to the trustee to increase the funds. Tawag natin doon contributions. They increase your fund. Magkaroon ng month end, kailangan mo na magbayad sa retirees mo. Ang tawag natin doon, benefits paid. And then of course, saan kukunin yung pera for paying the retirees? Siyempre, from the plan assets. That will be a credit because that decreases your plan assets. I think for this, it's self-explanatory. You increase for additional contributions, you decrease when you pay the employees. The retirees. Technically, they are no longer employees right now. They retired. There is also another form of payment to retirees. Sometimes, employees, unfortunately, will have what we can softly refer to as happy accidents. Sorry if this may be something that might sound a bit dark, pero it is a good financially, para sa employer, mas makakatipid siya kung masa-stop na kagad yung payment niya to the employee. Pero this is not something to joke about. Settlement price is a final payment to a retiree. Ito yung price na ibinayad mo for a retiree whose benefits have been terminated. Sir, when is a pension terminated? Look at me. That is when a pension is terminated. Pero there may be other arrangements. It is not ended through death of the benefit receiver. Sasabihin ko na sana benefactor. Sorry, it's not a correct term. It is not only ended through the death of the employee. Meron ding other arrangements for that. I am not particularly sure of how, pero I know there are. Settlement payments, final payments. In problem solving, this will often be termed as actual settlements. Okay? Those are the basics sa plan assets. Pero here are the in-depth na nosedive into the rabbit hole for computing plan assets. Remeasurement gains, interest income, and remeasurement losses. Ano to silang lahat? Let me explain. Unahin natin si remeasurement gains. Guys, plan asset, ano to? Di ba ito pondo yan na hawak ni trustee? Di ba? Si trustee, kapag nagbayad kapag nag-invest ka kay trustee ng pera, hindi niya yan hahawakan at itatago sa baul. Okay? Si trustee po, matalinong tao, business-minded na tao. Ang gagawin niya sa pera mo, i-invest niya yan into stocks, into debt, equity securities, debt and equity securities, and other forms of investment that will have a net return of dividends, that will have a net return of interest income. Or overall, that will result to, hopefully, an increase in our plan asset, to which in problem solving, it is often termed actual return or return on plan assets. Kapag pinaghalo-halo mo po itong lahat, they are called actual returns. Pero let me separate interest income and remeasurements. Remeasurements are gains and losses, often termed actuarial gains or losses. Actuarial gains or losses, it is the investment fluctuation of the funds. Pero interest income is the agreed rate between the employer and the trustee. Kasi po si trustee, when the employer invests the funds with the trustee, meron siyang benefit from the funds na hinahawakan. Kaya po, between the employer and the employee, kapag magbigay ako ng 5,000 sa'yo, magkano interest niyan? Meron po interest na pinag-aagrihan yang silang dalawa. There is a fixed interest income for that, and often, when you are solving problems for employee benefits, a rate will be given. The interest income is based on beginning balance of the plan assets. So beginning balance, multiply mo yan by the interest rate. That's your interest income. And that interest income is included in the terminology actual return. I'm sorry, I have not been keeping an eye on chat, pero may mga questions pala. But right now, I am confused what those questions are referring to. Sorry ha, let me make this offer na lang. Please message me and I will answer kasi hindi ko na alam kung para saan yung mga tanong na yan. Sorry. Sige, right now, I will be paying attention though. Sige po. Plan assets. Remember these components. Okay? Again, remeasurement is also termed actuarial gains or actuarial losses. Pedayon. Benefit obligation. Nasabi ko sa inyo kanina na ang benefit obligation para tong quasi-liability. Opo. Because if in the past, meron ka ng employee benefits na meron ka ng mga empleyado na pinangakuan ng employee benefits, definitely when you begin the year, meron niyang balance ang employee benefit obligation mo. Defined benefit obligation to that effect. Ito ang mga components ng T account natin. First, current service cost. For the current year, ang serbisyo na na-render ng employees mo, may katumbas yan na employee benefits. Every year an employee works, meron siyang pension equivalent for that. Guys, ang pension po nagdedepende. Gaano kalaki ang pension na matatanggap mo? It depends how long you work for an employer. It also depends on your salary. Kung mas mataas ang earning mo, you're a valuable employee, it is more probable na ang matatanggap mo after retirement, mas mataas din. All the more kung nag-serve ka for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years for that employer. Every year, may katumbas po na increase in your benefit yung serbisyo mo. We call that current service cost. It increases the obligation of the employer. Siyempre, imagine na lang, empleyado nagtrabaho for 5 years compared to empleyado nga nagtrabaho for 20 years. For example, equal lang ira makarawat pag-retire nira. Kung ikaw hit 20 years, di ka ba mauba? Common sense, di ba? Siyempre, makikipag-gira ka. 20 years ako hatrabaho. Tapos pareho laan amon nakakarawat ni 5 years. The longer the employees work, the higher your benefit obligation to them. Ito pa. Siyempre, huwag kayong maniwala kay Jed Madela. I don't care about the past. Sa employee benefits po, we care about the past. What if there is an employee who has worked for 10 years? Pero sabihin natin yung 10 years na yan, ang company medyo poor pa. Kaya in those 10 years, wala pang employee benefits. Pagkatapos, in the 11th year, the employer suddenly decided, let's start a pension plan for all of you. Guys, ngayon lang tayo mag-uumpisa ng pension plan, pero 10 years ka na nagtatrabaho. Would you be slighted? Would you be not slighted, I mean? Would you not feel slighted is what I'm trying to say. If on the 11th year, dun pa lang mag-uumpisa ang benefit mo. What about the past service that I rendered? 10 years na ako dito, wala bang halaga yun? Fortunately for you, sa benefit obligation, marunong po tayo lumingon sa pinanggalingan dito. Kasi may halaga po na dagdag ang past service ng employees. Kung ngayon pa lang mag-establish, lahat ng employees na nagtrabaho in the past, may past service cost. And that has an effect to the employees' pension received after mag-retire siya. Sir, bagang kinukul ba naman ako yan? Nakadamo man hining mga terminology, sir, nga kailangan lang bantayan, sir. There is a reason why Prelic 1 is called Special Topics in Financial Accounting. This is it. This is special. Padayon. Also, guys, not only establishment, sometimes there could be a revision to the benefit obligation. A revision to the terms, like ang rate nga 10%, ginhimo na nga 12%, ang contribution gindagdagan. If there is an adjustment that will affect past services, it will also be adjusted. And it will be included as an increase in your benefit obligation as past service cost. Take note, service cost should not be decreased. Service cost should not be in the debit side. Hindi ka pwede magbawas ng halaga ng service cost ng employees mo. I don't know which law prohibits that, pero imagine nala if you are an employee, you're expecting to receive 10,000 na. Tapos nag-adjust si employer, 5,000 na lang pala. Hindi ka ba malulungkot? Yun lang. Common sense lang ba? Pero I think I have to stick to the topic more because I know you're tired. I want to end this one real quick. Padayon. Benefit obligation. Take note, benefit obligation. This is a future obligation of the employer. As a future obligation, hindi po sinasabi, pero ang benefit obligation mo is assumed to be in present value. Di ba? Kapag meron kang obligasyon na babayaran in a future, kapag may liability ka na babayaran so far into the future, you need to express that in present value somehow. Because time value of money. And as that, guys, although it is not mentioned, benefit obligation incurs interest expense. May amortization po ang benefit obligation. And interest expense increases your benefit obligation. D. Kung may employee na nabayaran ng monthly pension niya, yung natanggap ni employee, it comprises a reduction in our obligation. Of course, this one is a bit easier to interpret. Common sense. Nagtrabaho si employee, increase. Nabayaran yung retiree, decrease. Okay? Parang may kumatok sa pinto ko, pero hindi ko alam kung ano. Baka masamang elemento, di ko muna bubuksan. Charms. Isa pa. Present value of DBO settled. Do you remember the settlement price earlier in plan asset? Di ba may empleyado ka na nakatanggap ng final payment? Settlement price ba? Yung diniscuss natin kanina. Yung final payment, ang halaga ng liability na nabayaran with that final payment is this one. Pero do take note, the PV of DBO settled is ideally equal. Ideally, in a perfect world, it should be equal to the settlement price. Pero in reality, not so much. In fact, I have not seen settlement price and PV of DBO settled to be equal at all in any problem I encountered. Because actual settlement, it could be assumed to be in the same accounting as premature termination of an obligation. Di ba kapag may premature termination of a liability, nagkakaiba yung magkano ang babayaran mo, tapos yung amount ng layab. Kasi yung layab mo naka-present value pa. Tapos yung binayad mo, face value. I don't know if that makes sense too much, pero I know you get a bit of that concept. It is the what you see here. These are the basics of benefit obligation. Pero ang benefit obligation mo, meron din remeasurements. Meron din actuarial gains or actuarial losses. In problem solving, ang terminology na ginagamit dito, para sa actuarial loss, it is often termed as increase in benefit obligation due to actuarial assumption, due to changes in actuarial assumption. Ano yun ulit, sir? Increase in benefit obligation due to changes in actuarial assumption. We call that actuarial loss. So bakit loss? Kasi nag-increase ang obligasyon mo. Increase ang liability. Di ba? I hope that makes sense. Ito naman actuarial gain, it is often termed as decrease in benefit obligation due to changes in actuarial assumption. Take note, the benefit obligation is an estimate. And periodically, that estimate will be evaluated by your actuary, by your trustee. And when the estimates are communicated to you, pagkatapos magkaiba yung balanse sa record mo versus the new estimate, that will comprise either increase or decrease to the obligation. Actuarial gain or loss. Okay? So yun na yun. Let me summarize for a little bit. Ang diniscuss ko lang po sa inyo for now, for that purpose, magkano ang ipipresent sa financial statement? Ano ang ipipresent sa financial statement regarding employee benefits? It could either be an asset or a liability. Kailan asset? Kung ang plan asset mas mataas sa benefit obligation. Asset yon. I call this PABO. Plan asset benefit obligation. Kapag i-compare mo si PA sa BO, it could either be an asset or a liability, depending on which is greater. Okay? Pero, employee benefits, it is a heavy burden to the employer. Kasi si employer ang nag-shoulder, di ba, ng employee benefits. Meron tayong tinatawag na employee benefit cost for employee benefits. Each year, whatever you incur as an expense is included in the terminology employee benefit cost. And like all employee benefits, maintaining this, a defined benefit plan, it comes with recognition of benefit cost and expense. Employee benefit cost serves as a basis for the amount of the employee benefit liability and expense to be recognized. So, kung magkano ang benefit cost natin, it influences the increase to our liab and expense. Theoretically speaking pa lang tayo, ha? Pero in our problem solving tomorrow, this will be one of the main things that we will compute. Don't worry. It is confusing when it comes to theory, pero in problem solving, it is rather straightforward. CPA, III, and PDA. That is employee benefit cost. Pero to simplify further, employee benefit cost, ano-ano ang mga resources? Ito na lang intindihin mo, ha. Ang ibig sabihin ng employee benefit cost is ano ang mga resources na na-shell out ni employer because he is maintaining a pension plan. Or ano ang mga resources na kailangan i-shell out pala ni employer? Ano ang cost for maintaining this plan? And that cost is comprised of three things. S and R. Yes. Yes po, Crisdel. S and R, it stands for service cost, net interest, and remeasurements. Sir, are those new terminologies? Don't worry. The components for service cost, net interest, and remeasurements, I have already shared to you earlier. Kasi lahat ng tatlong ito, they are part of PABO. They are part of plan asset and benefit obligations. Service cost. Service cost. It's CPA. CPA, your goal in your student life. Stands for current service cost. Di ba familiar? Kanina? Past service cost. And actual settlement gains or losses. Sorry, this one should have been removed pero hindi ko siya natanggal. Kapag gain, it's a deduction. Kapag loss, it's an increase to service cost. Take note, itong service cost na to, it is part of your expenses. It's part of measurement of the expense of the employer. CPA. Actual settlement gain or loss, yung A. Again, this is a mistake on my end. I was unable to edit that one out. Next is net interest. It comprises interest expense from DBO, defined benefit obligation. Di ba sa benefit obligation may interest expense kanina? That is increasing your expense. Andyan na sa pangalan, di ba? Expense nga. Increase in your expense. And here is something I didn't share to you earlier, pero we will discuss at the right time. Interest expense from asset ceiling. Sorry, nasabay ko sa pag-reveal. Hindi ko to na-discuss kanina. I intentionally excluded it because it is not part of PABO. It is not part of plan asset or benefit obligation. Kailan mo i-explain, sir? Sa takdang panahon. Pero know that interest expense from asset ceiling, it increases your net interest. It increases your expense that will be close to, presented in P&L. As well as service cost. Ito silang dalawa, they are the components of employee benefit expense. Pero, they are not the only ones under the terminology employee benefit cost. May pagkakaiba po ang terminology na employee benefit cost and employee benefit expense. Because in addition to the expense, employee benefit cost also includes OCI component, which is not an expense because OCI are, in its technical definition, a deferred expense. In short, you can't expense this one yet. Not now, maybe later. Let's keep it in OCI muna. And what are the components of remeasurement? Well, it is the PDA. If you ask your classmates who are under Ma'am Malu, yung remeasurement ni Ma'am, it's ACE. ACE. I will explain what ACE stands for. Pero dito sa atin, it's PDA. Ano yung PDA? Public display of, plan asset remeasurement, gain or loss. DBO remeasurement, gain or loss. Ano yung DBO, sir? Defined benefit obligation ba? And then changes in the effect of asset ceiling. Ano ba yung ACE ni Ma'am Malu? ACE. ACE stands for actuarial gain or loss in benefit obligation and plan asset. C stands for change in asset ceiling. Katumbas nito, yung pangatlo. Ewan ko, tatanungin ko na lang siya kung ano ang gamit niya na mnemonic. Ano ibig sabihin ng gamit niya na mnemonic? I will definitely convey it to you. Pero for now, please remember these components. Itong dalawa, expense. Ito siya, OCI. I'm sure I don't need to explain ano ibig sabihin ng PL and OCI to you. Kung hindi mo pa alam, please message me. I will indulge in explaining it to you. Pero for now, here are the things that you need to remember. Plan asset, benefit obligation, and SNR. Employee benefit, post-employment benefits is PABO SNR. PABO SNR. Plan asset benefit obligation, and then employee benefit cost, service, net interest, and remeasurement, SNR. Kapag alam mo ang concept ng dalawang to, PABO saka SNR, there are few other things only left for you to know more. Kasi ito na yung meat of the discussion when you are talking about post-employment benefits. Kaya po, what follows are only miscellaneous things. How to compute interest, income, how to compute interest expense, ano yung ibig sabihin ng terminology na actual return. All of those I will be demonstrating to you when we do problem solving. I know you're not ready right now, so you might be crying like that, but we will do it tomorrow because you're not ready today. So bukas na lang. So yun po. That ends my discussion for the theories of post-employment benefits. I will save this video so that kung natulog ka somewhere in between our discussion, you will be able to review. Thank you and have a great day. Guys, di rely ni Ash ang discussion ha. May padayon pa actually. Pero nasabi ko na nga sa inyo, i-discuss ko to sa inyo sa takdang panahon. Not today. So para ka mga nagkaadahin mini heart attack, feel some relief because I'm not going to discuss that today. Thank you and have a great day lang muna. Pero wag muna kayo magbababay kasi hindi pa ako nag-a-attendance, okay? Let me end my share screen and also in turn end our recording so that we can do the attendance now.